Hello, Rocketeers. This is Miss Parker here with another science video, and we are going to continue talking about habitats. Now, in the last video, I said that we are going to create an anchor chart and see what different animals live in different habitats. And I have our anchor chart ready here. So, here's how I want this to work. Because obviously, if we were in the classroom, you all will be helping me fill out this anchor chart, giving me all types of ideas. So for right now, Ms. Parker is going to fill in this anchor chart with the information that I feel like belongs there. So I'll put in what different animals and plants I think will be in these habitats. But of course, I still want my Rocketeers' opinions. So make sure you comment what different animals and plants you believe belong in these different habitats. So let's get started. So on my anchor chart over here, let's make sure this can be seen. There we go. On my anchor chart over here, I have forest, ocean, house, meadow, desert, and Arctic. So some animals that I think may use the forest as a habitat is, let's think about this. I think I'd see some bears in a forest. I think I may see some bugs maybe. Maybe in the forest we would see some maybe some deer. Maybe. Something else we may see in the forest are maybe some birds and some squirrels. What else may we see? How about some raccoons? What about plants? We haven't put any plants yet, so let's write raccoons. What plants would we see in the forest? I'm pretty sure we'll see a lot of trees, obviously. And maybe some flowers, some different types of flowers. Let's take a look at the ocean. Can we think about some different animals and plants we would find in the ocean? Obviously, we are going to find some fish. We may also find an octopus, maybe. We could possibly find some sharks. Maybe also some squid. We may find some seaweed. Maybe some sea snails. I think we'd also find coral reefs, so coral in the ocean. All right, let's take it closer to what we're used to. A house. Obviously, we live in a house, so we find humans, people in a house. People like to have pets, so you may find some dogs or some cats, maybe a hamster or two. And some people, I'm not one of those people, but some people are good with potted plants, so you may find some potted plants. Next, we have a meadow. A meadow is like a field of flowers. So when you think of field of flower, you may think of different bugs you may see. So you know you want to see some bugs, some insects, because of all the flowers, maybe some butterflies. What else would we find in a meadow full of flowers? What else would we find? Obviously plants, because we literally just hit a meadow full of flowers. So plants, flowers, grass. Hmm. Is there anything else we can think of? Oh, rabbits! You might see a rabbit in a meadow. What's about in the desert? What are we going to see in the desert? Maybe we see some lizards and snakes, maybe. I think if I went to the desert, I'd probably see a scorpion. I probably see a cactus. What else may we see in the desert? We may see, maybe a vulture. And our last habitat we have up here is the Arctic. So, not too many animals live in the Arctic, but I'm pretty sure we would see a polar bear in the Arctic. We may see, how about a seal? You can probably see a seal in the Arctic. They can probably handle the cold. Penguins can definitely handle the cold. And I know for sure that those strong evergreen trees can definitely survive in the Arctic. So here we have our chart with our different habitats and the different animals that live there. Notice that these animals don't necessarily live in the same exact place. Like in the forest, we have birds, which will obviously be in the trees, but you also have bears. They're not going to hibernate in a tree. I don't think they survive that way. In the ocean, you have fish and you have sharks. Obviously, the sharks are going to eat the fish, so it's not like they are going to live in the exact same place as a shark. So habitats do not just consist of one or two animals. They are these vast things that hold so many different types of organisms, so many different types of animals and plants. So let's think about some of these different animals here. What would happen if we took this polar bear out the Arctic and put it in the desert? Or if we took this lizard out the desert and put it in the ocean? Or if we thought this seaweed could grow in this meadow? What would happen if we tried to make all these different changes? Obviously, these things would not survive because the needs that they have are met in their different habitats. And those changes that we were talking about making, these animals and these plants would not be able to survive because they cannot have their needs met in those habitats. They're not going to adapt for their needs to be met there. So they would die off. And I was sitting here thinking, because I know when we are together, my Rocketeers have so many great questions to keep us thinking. So I was wondering, what are some of the questions that my Rocketeers might have? One of the questions I thought about was, how do living things in nature get their needs met? This is a question I figured you would ask. So one of the way that they get their needs met is by finding what they need in their environment. That is why a habitat is such an important system for a living thing because they have to have their needs met in order to survive. Can they go about living in another habitat? Only if that habitat can meet their needs. Like we said, the polar bear cannot move to the desert because they cannot have their needs met there. So these animals up here are in what would be their natural habitat. I had so much fun going over these animals with you, and I cannot wait to see which animals you comment in the comment section about where it belongs on these different habitats. I'm so excited to see your answers and have you all participate with me because I miss you guys. Bye until next time.